all the time. So let's turn around here. Everybody's wondering what's in the magic bucket. That would be Marcelium spawn and a slurry mix that we're going to go ahead and put out here in the garden today. The sun's at school, so try to take a little time and say, why not? Everybody wants to know where and how. Well, this is a soak kit. This is when you soak for 24 hours before you use it. So, this has been soaking 24 hours. It's got the ash, the molasses, elm bark pieces, tilled up pieces of oak, tiny bit of cedar, some molasses, a little salt. I probably already said molasses. But, jar at a time. So, after you get it all mixed up and it's done its job, pretty much all we're going to do is populate an area. It doesn't matter where you put it at, as long as you have the right soil consistency, which is a pH of about a 5 to 7. 5 is usually the better one. So I'm going to put this all around my little grow patch. And if you do this right, do this all right, you'll get about a 4-week return. So that's what you're looking for, is a even pour. Just introduce it to the area. Just make sure you do it right, which is about 50-degree temperature and saturate. Don't be afraid to pour it around. It's going to travel out a few feet anyway. So no matter what you do, yeah, this is going to be fun. Now I do this quite a bit. I usually go out to places like North Fork, like Clinton. So any of y'all that have been out to North Fork, you're welcome. But, and I have my pond set up. Right now I haven't drained it yet. But I pH'd it the other day, it's at 6.5. So most of that water is going to get used up out here, keeping everything moist. So I will get one more turn of morel mushrooms, which is the fun part. So, like I said, so I don't touch any of these leaves. This is what I call my natural bed. That's the whole reason I don't touch any of it. The newspaper was just a little bit of added pulp. It actually has helped. But you see, I do have some of my stems in there. Those are just from mushrooms that I collected, that I want to make sure that they have a chance to grab hold of a few things. And when we're done, and yes, there will be an update, but when we're done, y'all will get to see it for yourself. So, let the games begin. Morel hunters, don't think just because you don't have a way to find them that they're gone, because they are far from gone, my brothers. There's a couple ways you can cheat, make your own morel beds. Let me get all the spawn I can out of these. I don't lose any of it. But I'll set my spawn bucket upside down, let it drain out the rest of the way. Now, there's a trick to doing this if you want to do it the right way. So, howdy, welcome in. Now, if you got a pen and paper handy, y'all, it's time to write it down. If you want to do a raised bed for Marcelium, and you want to do morel mushrooms, because that's what I'm going to tag this video as morel mushrooms, you can do it with a raised bed. Everybody talks about temperature, climate. It's what you control. Now, to control your climate in your beds, it takes a little bit of practice, but it's not that hard. You can pass a piece of PEX tubing. You would do a heated floor in a garage, which is in the side of your box. Do a couple loops and out the side of your box. No connections inside the box. That would be on the very bottom half. What that's going to do is that's going to help control your climate. So you can put a water pump in a bucket, barrel, whatever you want to do. If you pass it through a refrigerator, like an old refrigerator, try to set it at about 55 degrees. What that's going to do is give your soil a base temperature of about 55 degrees, and you can keep it there. The advantage of that is that means throughout the season. And don't let them ever tell you otherwise. Throughout the season, if you keep your dirt around 50 degrees, 55 degrees, somewhere in there, you can manipulate the soil to do what you want it to do. Now you're still going to need to get your basics, like your molasses, your ashes, your wood pulp. That's the tricky part. Try to get hold of some of your buddies that have landscaping companies. You want the green that they've just cut down. Don't go for dead wood. See, the trick with Marcelium is the nutrients that those elm trees drop on the ground. That's what they're going after, is the elm's nutrients, not the dead wood. So anybody that thinks the dead wood is your friend, no, it's not. But look for your elms, your oaks, your ash trees. That'll still give you time. There's still a couple of weeks left in the season. So what you're going to do is try to copy that same ground. What you can do is go out in the woods where you found at least one. Doesn't matter how many you found, but as long as you found one, you know that soil composition is correct. And what you do is you're going to cheat. You take a couple of buckets of that, a couple 5-gallon buckets of that dirt. You're going to want that dirt. And what you do is you lay your bedding, which is your potting soil mix, whatever, on the bottom. Run your tubing in. Cover that up, a light amount of that potting soil mix. Here's where it gets cool. Now, this is where all the bark, elm cuttings, I like to call it roughage. It's where you mill down with, I don't care if you use a sander with an 80 grit sandpaper pad, which is one of the things I've used before. Just don't push it hard. You have to push it nice and easy. You want that sawdust to be cool, not overheated. Because if it gets hot, you're killing some of the bacteria and the good stuff that you want to keep. But you want to also make that in different sizes, like shave some the size of your fingernail. Curls, like pass it through a planer, but make sure it's all wet wood. Pass it through a planer. Get that elm and that oak nice thin chips. You want to make like a bedding, so you have small sawdust, medium sized, and big curls. Now what you do is you'll soak that in a bucket overnight. Don't use tap water. You want to use rainwater or well water. Nothing chlorinated. Natural rainwater is what I always use. What I'll do is I'll soak it in the bucket overnight, put a piece of screen, like an old screen door, over the top of that bucket, tie a rope around it. When you're done, you flip it over. You let that drain until it's just dripping. You see a few drips, that means it's saturated, it's ready to go. Flip it back over. Now, that's when you want to have your slurry mix ready. Introduce your slurry mix to that bucket at that time. Keep the bucket about 55, 60 degrees until you see that white Marcelium start to grow and populate. Once it populates, now you have a 5-gallon bucket that you can take, add some rainwater to it as long as it's not cold. You want to make sure it's still about 55, 60 degrees. I usually go for about 60. Mix it up really well, and you can split that bucket into multiple buckets with that same rainwater. Now what you just made are multiple buckets of Marcelium. Now you can run an aerator in it if you want, or you don't have to, as long as it's not super cold outside. But take those buckets and start pouring them around in places where you get a moist ground, or in a shaded area, or the bed you're building. That is the bottom of its potting soil, then your tubes for your temperature. Above that, you want to sprinkle a layer of that clean ash, like fresh burnt ash, so there's no rainwater been through it. You don't lose the nutrients. Sprinkle that layer down, and then you can take that bucket that's got your Marcelium mix in it, and you put a layer, and you don't want to pack it down. You want to pour that nice and soft. That's another trick to it, keep it soft and fluffed up. But you pour that whole layer of that sawdust mixture out all through your bed. On top of that, you can put a little bit of that ground that you've gone and gotten from out in the woods. You put a layer of that, and you want to sprinkle it across the top with it like a coffee can. Don't ever just pour it and pack it. You want that loose soil. Like when you're walking through the woods and you feel the soil is soft beneath your feet, that's what you're going for. Pardon me. Allergies. Anyway, after you poured those layers, you can get you a layer of leaves, little peat moss, whatever you want. Lay it across it, same way. Shake it across there loose. And then, now here's your fun part. Cover it up. Put a tarp across it. You don't want sunlight to it. You want to keep it moist, not really warm, but cool. That's why I said try to regulate it. That's where those tubes come in. If your ground's starting to get too warm, the Marcelium won't operate like it's supposed to. It won't spread out, won't repopulate. But if you pass some cool water hoses through those tubes, you can control the environment all year round. That means you can have controlled climate and make them come up more often, even if they're out of season, as long as the dirt's the right temperature. Once you get to that certain point, your heat lamps or your grow lights above it, you turn them onto a 12 and 12 light cycle after they've had about 3-4 weeks of grow time. What that'll do is it'll heat the soil up about 70 degrees, 65, 70 degrees. It'll also simulate that spring is coming. That means it's time for the morels to pop up and spread spore because they think it's that time of the year. So, long story short, I hope I didn't lose you all. It's not complicated. If you order a few of the spore packs, you can see them on the internet. Make sure it's a reputable company. Check the ratings. Make sure they got good reviews. But make sure they're not just landscaping morels. Completely different monster. The best thing to do is go out and get you some of those yellow mushrooms out in the field. Grind them up. Use those to make your marcillium. Use a natural source. That way you're not using a manipulated strain like the landscaper morels. They are pretty decent. They're a gray, but everybody wants those yellows. If you want those yellows to keep coming up, it's a pretty simple trick to do it. Time and temperature is your main thing. So you got about a 4 or 5 week return. And if you do it wrong, it's going to be about a year before they pop up. The way I do it, I've got about a 4 week hole. After 4 weeks, I'm going to see them start popping up everywhere I just poured them. Do it every year. I just don't tell everybody I do it. But now, welcome to YouTube. It's about time to share the education before it's gone and it's lost forever. So, get you some packs. If you get the spore kits off the, I think they have them on eBay, and they also have them on Amazon. I think that's where I got mine from Amazon. Those give me about a 4 week hole, and then they finally start popping up. But some popped up later in the year during summer months. So don't think just because they're not out in the woods doesn't mean you can't grow them at home. Do a little research, and remember, when you do your mix, you do have to add some molasses into your slurry. Gives us something to feed on. You have to keep the slurry not warm, about 60 degrees. That's about the best way for it to repopulate. But hopefully you can copy the same thing at home. Just make sure if you do have a way to test your soil, make sure your soil you're going to be using pHs between 5 and 7. I'd like it to be at 6. That's kind of crucial to make sure you get the best progress, I guess you could say. But just take your time. Don't rush it. Worst thing's going to happen, you'll be mowing your yard in the summertime, you'll look around, they'll start popping up everywhere. If that happens, hey, you're welcome. But this will be continued. Once they start coming up, I'll show you how it works. And then I'm going to do an indoor bed. Something more of a climate-controlled bed. And this is unedited. But I'm also going to be showing you guys some prepper stuff here pretty soon, like the old Blackbeard fire rope. Because I've been hearing a whole lot of things about Blackbeard's fire rope, so I've been testing it. Wait till you see some of the crap we did to one of those ropes, and it still works, so... Anyway, happy mushroom hunting. You still have some time in the year. Go out there, get you a bag of them. Just make sure that it's a sealed bag. I know that we tell you to get an aerated bag because that spreads the spawn and spores all over where you're walking back. But if you're wanting to do something at home, keep about a pound of them in a seal bag. You want those spawn and the spores in your mix. Don't be afraid to go to your local landscapers ever and ask them, hey, do you have elm, oak, a little bit of cedar? Don't use a lot of cedar. You don't want a lot of that. Elm, oak, ash, yes. My best results have been around ash trees and elm trees. So go out there, get some fresh, I mean, ask them the stuff nobody wants. Green mulch. You want the fresh stuff. You want those nutrients. Make it about a foot deep in your yard. Till the dirt under it. Make sure the dirt's soft. Put that mulch all over your yard in places where it's shaded, it's not in direct sunlight, it stays cool. Pour your buckets out on top of that. Hope all you mushroom hunters are happy with your results, and good luck, y'all.